Hey everyone, welcome to Realization Hub. My name is Michelle, and I'm an intuitive counselor, energy healer, channeler, and astrologer. And this full moon is overall very positive and helps us move in a new direction, a direction that is aligned with us on a soul level, that is fated or destined in nature, a direction that's overall going to rebalance us and bring us more expansion, growth, abundance, and blessings in our life. All right, let's get into this full moon in Scorpio. First of all, let's talk about Scorpio. Scorpio is a fixed water sign, and you can think about Scorpio as deep, complex, transformative. It is the sign of alchemy. When we come into a full moon in Scorpio, we are exposing a deeper truth within us, and we are exposing our shadows, some of the things that have been hidden within us. And we take that stuff that we uncover and we bring it through a type of alchemy. And that alchemy allows us to bring it into a more elevated state, a more evolved state. And so this full moon can be deep, it can be psychologically deep. In this case, I'm seeing that it can help us purge a mental imbalance. It can help us purge a mental pattern. It can help us purge a mindset that maybe has been blocking us from seeing the full picture or from being able to embrace the opportunities or the growth or the abundance or how we can develop things in a new direction that actually support us. Like there is an uplifting quality to this full moon because it has a trine with Jupiter. Jupiter you can think of as this optimism or this amusement or this overall feeling that things are hopeful. And this also makes this full moon expansive. This full moon expands us. We are having an alchemy that occurs, likely a purge, a mental purge that is occurring around this time. You might feel it in your heads, is kind of what I'm seeing. And it's going to expand you. It's going to expand your feminine energy. It's going to expand and help you align with an overall direction that you need to go in that helps you rebalance overall. And so that's what's positive and supportive about this full moon. It's intuitive, it's emotional, it's feminine. It's a feminine expansion. It's an alignment with our feminine energy. And this full moon is happening in Taurus season. It's in opposition to the sun, as a full moon is always in opposition to the sun. And Taurus season is all about our financial security, our self-worth, our values. Are we investing in ourselves? Are we holding standards that support a sense of self-worth? Do we take action based on our values? Are we aligning with our values? And do we have foundations in our lives that are secure, like our home, our property, our bank account, our the foundations, in our relationships. And so this full moon is going to help us expose a deeper truth. And that deeper truth is going to be supported. We're going to bring more safety to this deeper truth. We're going to bring more love and nurturing to that deeper truth. And we're going to bring more integrity to our deeper truths. And overall, when we allow ourselves to grow and expand and embrace these deeper truths, it helps us align in a new direction. Maybe it helps us align with our intuition, or it helps us align with our dreams and our imagination. And so that's what's supportive about this full moon. It exposes a deeper truth, possibly about our self-worth, possibly about our communication, possibly about our mindset and how we think and process and communicate about, our desires and what we want. And it might expose a wound, like a mental wound, okay? Because we have Mercury in conjunction, almost in an exact conjunction here with Chiron, the wounded healer. And so you could think of it as this full moon highlights a problem, a wound, a pattern, something awkward, something that doesn't feel very good in our mindset, in the way we are processing something, in the way we are communicating something, or possibly even just around our desires and our confidence, in the way we assert ourselves through our communication. It can highlight like a truth, like have we felt where is this pattern coming from? This full moon is going to expose that. It gives us the opportunity to go deep and just look at that. Like, what is being exposed within me that is a pattern that does not feel good? And where can I allow an expansion in my feminine energy? Where can I meet myself and bring more nurturing love to what I'm feeling and kind of cultivate a sense of emotional security, and help that align me towards my dreams and allow maybe a nonlinear experience, maybe allow some adaptability around how I get to my overall creation or dreams. Now, this full moon has a square with Pluto. So you think about Pluto. Pluto's like our soul, and it's the planet of transformation. And so it's kind of like a slow moving planet. And so we don't just go through these quickie transformations. They take time. And Pluto leads us through our fears. It leads us through power dynamics, where we give our power away, where we're resentful, where we're controlling and possessive and manipulative. And it brings up truths to the surface, and it allows us to dig into our shadows and alchemize them and evolve and really come into our power. So it's like an inner alchemy that occurs. So this full moon definitely has a tone of deep inner alchemy, but it's about our overall bird's eye perspective in the world, especially about the systems and the structures in your own life and your overall vision. And where are you sensing something in your life, like an old system, an old structure in your life that feels outdated or feels like it's no longer working, or you're noticing like, the parts of that system and structure that feel rusty, broken, old. Um, maybe they're not serving you anymore the way that they used to. This is the call for innovation. This is the call for us to not drop our vision or give up on our visions or our overall higher goals, but to break through the mindsets that we have that are depressing, that want immediate gratification, that want to get what we want now, and where can we embrace patience, maturity, responsibility, um, making sure things have integrity that are aligned with us on foundational levels in our lives. We still have this stellium of celestial bodies here in Aries, Neptune, Saturn, Mars, Mercury, and Chiron here. And we're still in this kind of wide conjunction here with Saturn, Mars, and Mercury in this full moon. And so we're moving forward, but there's still like delays. There's still a slowness. There's still a presence that we need to bring to going for our desires, going for our higher goals. We can't just barrel forward in a reckless, chaotic way. We can't just sprint towards the finish line. We have to think this through. We have to look at our foundations. We have to to also include our bigger vision and dreams. And we have to get very real and sobered about our what we're going to build and what we're going to address and what we, in this case, what we need to innovate, in our mindset, in our actual structures in our lives that are like rusty, old, and broken and need an innovation. So I'm just going to give some examples in case this isn't landing for you. Like, let's say you have a side business or a gig, and maybe for the last 5 years you've been working with a particular software that helps you schedule clients, or maybe you've been working with a particular software that helps you do marketing, or maybe you have a particular social media um, structure, for marketing, or, you have tons of different structures like in a business or in a job, right? And maybe you're sensing something, maybe there's an intuitive sense going off, like this structure here, it it was a good start. It helped me up until now, but now it's rusty, it's smelly, it's broken, it's not working, it's pissing me off, it's frustrating, it's not giving me the results that I want. I need to renovate this. I need to renovate and innovate this particular structure. Maybe I need to like update my marketing structure or update my software or like get this automated or like, there could be like systems within a business or in a job that need to be like innovated, so that you can reach those higher goals. But it's going to take more time to do that because you have to go back and address, the old structure and create the new structure and implement that. And that takes more time. That takes more, yes, strategy and time and, details. That's kind of the energy we're working with. And you can apply this to relationships. You can apply this to your financial foundations. You can apply this to your values on an internal, external level. You can apply this to any structure that you have in your life, relationship structures, living structures, your home, your family, your career, all those major areas of life, who you are. Like, what are the structures that support you in your life, and what feels stinky and old and needs to be innovative? And where have we been holding ourselves back or feeling suppressed or feeling um, like we can't really move forward directly towards our desires or towards, how we assert ourselves as individuals in the world simply because of a mindset of a psychological wound or like an emotional psychological wound, a deeper truth that's been stuck, a secret that you're holding, something that is just kind of awkward or wounded or like a problem, that needs to be alchemized, you know? So in this full moon, we're taking this problem, we're taking this mindset, or we're taking this stuckness that we might feel mentally or in our heads, and we're going to put it into our Scorpio alchemizing cauldron. And whatever you put into that Scorpio alchemizing cauldron, that's what's going to take that kind of problem, the poisonous problem, the darker shadow, like the difficulty and the frustration that we're dealing with, or whatever it might be, the confidence issue, the self-trust issue, the doubt, whatever it is. We put it into that cauldron, and this full moon helps to mix it and churn it, and you start to expand, and you start to purge, and you start to release, and you start to go into an alchemy. And it takes that problem, it takes that pattern, it takes that trauma or that wound, and it turns it into gold. It turns it into a healing. So this is a healing full moon. And it's going to change the way we see things, the way we communicate, the way we're processing and thinking about something. It's going to help clear things up. And so, again, this could be another one of those full moons where Um, we might feel a bit foggy in our heads as stuff is purging and releasing on a psychological level. But ultimately, this full moon asks us to approach these structures in our lives almost like a scientist. Like we could get low in our feelings or low in our mindset. We might want to shut down, or we might feel like held back, or we might feel low, or we might feel fear, or we might feel some deeper truth that feels yucky, during this alchemizing process. But what's going to help us with this overall transformation is looking at these structures in our lives, relationship structures, financial structures, work structures, career structures, whatever you're looking at, and to look at it in a more objective, scientific kind of way. Like if you were a scientist and you were looking, at this structure, you're not giving up on your overall goal and you're not giving up on your overall vision. And you have a vision that is ultimately going to innovate your life. Um, but you have to be willing to be experimental. You have to be willing to look at what's working, what's not working. How can I tinker with this and try this instead and shift this and change that and, um, make this work differently? How can I think outside the box, right? How can I think outside the box? This is where we start to change and rewire our brains right here at the beginning of May. This is where we have an old pattern that we start to change. And we start to alchemize this energetically first, emotionally first. We start to alchemize this. And what can help probably be like your lantern during this full moon is focusing on your liberation, what can break you free, like the desires that can break you free. Um, we have we have Venus here, in a conjunction with Uranus, the planet of liberation and freedom and breakthroughs and change and disruptions. This is like having a shift in our relationships, a shift in our hearts, a shift in our desires. Um, this is the planet of the higher mind. It's the soul liberator. And then we have Venus during this full moon in a conjunction here with it, in a trine to Pluto. And so this is like, what do we need to learn in order to innovate? How can we rewire our brains to support our desires? How can we have a shift and a realignment in our relationships that helps us materialize what we want into our lives in a real way? How can we bring more order to chaos? How can we align? This is the type of shift that realigns us in our hearts and our desires and our relationships. And, we have to be both discerning and practical, as well as intuitive and open and trusting and surrendering to the process. But overall, it is a liberation of where we have been suppressed, an expansion of our feminine energy, a shift in our feminine energy that allows us to go after our desires in a real, concrete, responsible, mature way. The other thing I want to speak about is Mars. Mars is going to be at home in Aries. Mars is the ruler of Scorpio. So this full moon is like highlighting the Scorpio energy, and it's going to highlight Mars. Mars is at home in Aries in this stellium. So again, it's going to highlight like our identity, who we are, our desires, what we want, and how we directly, it's very clear. We want to directly go towards something, but there's delays. There's real things we need to address. There's real things we need to build. There's real things we need to innovate. Um, And in some ways, we're resourced because we're connected with our sense of self during this full moon. We're connected with our sense of self. We're connected with our desires. We're connected with what we want. We're connected with, um, how to be more straightforward about that. Um, Yet we have these delays, yet we're having these moments of needing to address the foundations before we move forward. And, Mars is going to be in a square with Jupiter. So objectively, this is positive and motivating. We could have a lot of energy during this full moon. We might feel resourced with more physical energy, more direct action, but it's in a square with Jupiter and Cancer. And Jupiter is a benevolent planet, so that's actually optimistic and positive. Um, but it can still pose a challenge. And the challenge might be something like, I'm ready to be very direct and go after what I want, but I actually can't be direct. I have to be more like a crab, like zigzaggy. I have the energy to do it, and I want to be more direct and forward about this. And I can, hold a vision and be direct and straightforward about this, but I have to be ethical. I have to have integrity and I have to address things personally on a personal level with other people and nurture them as well. And that might mean that I have to do things more consciously. I have to do things more with presence. I have to be more sensitive and emotionally intelligent and do things by agreement and not just barrel over other people, but and but embody my truth, be straightforward, be direct, while also having integrity in my relationships, having ethics, having a philosophy that allows me to nurture the people that I care about and protect the people that I care about while I you know achieve this goal or go after this goal or put action into this um you know into yourself, into what you want. Okay. So overall, like looking at the full moon on a personal level, very positive, very um, supportive. It expands us. It brings more blessings. It brings more abundance. It expands our feminine energy. It's honestly a shift in our feminine energy. It's a change and evolution in our feminine energy, and it's like a taking something that's been suppressed and unsuppressing it so that we can actually, you know, go after what we want. You know, we can go after what we want and we can go after our goals and our long-term goals. And this is just a full moon that is essentially like a mental purge. You might be feeling it in your head. You might feel pressure in your head. You might feel a headache. You might feel um, a shadowy nature to your thinking, like in the background of this full moon. Kind of like in the background of the full moon, there's some alchemy that's happening in your head around your thinking, your mindset, who you are, your desires, what's been suppressed, how you innovate things in your life, and you have an expansion in your feminine energy. So when I'm looking at the outer picture, because we have Pluto in Aquarius. And so this does highlight like an outer picture of the collective and what's happening in the collective. What's happening in the collective is similar. It's a similar tone in that our systems are unstable. Our systems around our resources, our financial systems, the economy, are unstable. We have, you know, um, Venus in a conjunction with Uranus. Venus can be related to money, the economy. Like things could be shaky right now. There could be real signs of instability in the economy, in our pleasures, in what we can have, our resources, oil, um, land, property, our the boundaries, territories, things like that. This could be one of those full moons that highlights like the crisis that we're in, in humanity, that requires us to slow down and really look at our global systems of money, oil, land, resources, law, and technology, and coming into an innovative vision of that, having to come into and expand and grow and slow down and come into an expanded new vision of a global system that is more stable, essentially, more secure, more stable, more safe for everyone. That's kind of the tone of the full moon. It highlights that instability, and it highlights the shift that's occurring towards something new. So that's kind of like more of an outer perspective, bird's eye view. But then when we bring it in on a personal level, it's like, what is the deeper truth in me that's being exposed? What is the alchemy that needs to happen in my mindset, my thinking, my processing, my communication? And where do I need to be aware of systems in my life, structures in my life that are old, that need to be innovated? And where can I embrace change in my heart, my desires, intuitively, to embrace a new direction, a new direction that allows me to build more financial security, self-worth, value, and invest in myself and invest in my desires? Where can I allow a mental rewiring, like rewiring my brain based on my soul alignment, my heart alignment, with my desires and what I want? That's what we're getting into. And so when I'm sensing into a practical wisdom, for everyone, I would kind of pose the question, what are your desires right now? Like, who are you and what are your desires? And are the structures in your life currently supporting that? And let's bring it now to your mentality and your thinking. What current mindset do I have around the structures in my life, the foundations in my life? And do I have a positive perspective on that, or a depressing perspective on that, or a pattern, like a mental pattern, a psychological pattern around my desires, relationships, what I want, and the changes or the innovations I need to make in my own life to align with my heart and my true desires. And what kind of growth do I need to do mentally, or in my communication, or in my relationships? What kind of shifts can I make? What kind of changes can I make? What do I need to learn, in order to realign with these deeper truths that are being exposed within me? So this could be a good journaling practice. Who are you? What are your desires? What are your mental patterns? What is the deeper truth that is being revealed to you? And what are the shifts and changes that you can make in your relationships and in your actions that can overall create more boundaries or structures in your life that support you? And possibly around this full moon, you may feel headaches. You may feel, actual rewiring happening in your brain. Um, the line between your heart and your brain, the connection between your heart and your brain, your thinking, your mindset, and what you want, and your, connections with other people, your ability to receive, your abundance, your self-worth, all of that. Like, that's going through a rewiring. And so when I'm looking at a next step, this could be good for journaling. You might need to process something that's deeper at this time, and you might need to get a journal out and process that. That could be a good thing to do. Or someone that's safe and trusted that you can book a session with or schedule a coffee date with and talk about and process with. Um, Maybe there's someone that can nurture you, in this processing experience, processing a problem or wound or pattern that you need to break free of. And this could be great for a counseling session or a therapy session or a psychic healing session, an energy healing session. Or this could be great for, having deep conversations with trusted allies about real problems and patterns that you're experiencing in your life that you are trying to grow through and expand through, but needing to do so with integrity, needing to do so with ethics. So this is just a reminder that I offer group sessions every single month that support you during these energetic shifts and changes that we are moving through every single month. My first group energy healing is going to be on Saturday, May 9th at 10 a.m. Hawaii time. And this group energy healing is about sacred deviation. It's about the patterns that have defined us, that we are so attached to and used to, that ultimately suppress us. And this group energy healing is going to help us rewire those patterns. So whatever gets exposed during this full moon, sign up for this group energy healing and get some energetic support for integrating this truth into your life that will help you kind of go through that rewiring process. The next group energy session that I have is a guided meditation. We're always doing self-healing work in that meditation. And this meditation is called The Leap, because it is happening on Thursday, May 21st, when we have the sun in conjunction with Uranus. And this, looking at the astrology during this time of the month, we are having a shift, a collective shift in consciousness. And this is where we could actually see a shift in timeline, a shift in your timeline. And so I'm doing a live guided meditation about stepping into your new timeline. I'm calling it The Leap. And this will be, again, Thursday, May 21st at 9:30 a.m. Hawaii time. You can sign up, and if you can't make it live, you will receive the recording. And then I'll have a group channeled message, which is like a transmission, and it definitely will can bring about shifts in consciousness as well as releases and rebalances as well. And this group channeled message is with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, and I am channeling myself as well. And we are going to be continuing to talk about the real experiences of embodying our divinity on Earth and us as new creators, sensitive, conscious beings on the planet, what our experiences are like, how to navigate those experiences, and how to work with um, our the new ways that we operate and orient to life based on these significant changes that occur within us. All right, everyone. It was so good to spend some time with you. I'm excited about this full moon. Again, there is some intensity to this full moon, but overall it's really positive and expansive. And like, even if you have like a headache or some kind of rewiring going on in the background, like you might also at the same time feel the expansiveness of this full moon that's occurring, which is very beneficial and abundant for all of us. All right, everyone. So good to spend time with you. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, write me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. If you're listening to this on Spotify, please subscribe to my podcast. And again, write me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. I would love to hear what's going on in your life, what you resonated with. If there's anything you have a question about that you want me to talk about in these videos, let me know. I'm sending you all a very big hug and all my love. Take care. Bye.